Welcome to Celebration Sunday. As I was explaining to everyone, Celebration Sunday is a day that I choose. And although I celebrate him every day, but I'm at home, I'm cooking, I'm having a good time with my family. So I use Celebration Sunday as a day to just say, God, thank you for all that you have done. Thank you for your mercy and your grace. Because, honey, I'm not perfect.
Amen.
It could have took me out a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
So before we get into you, I want to read your bio because your bio is very impressive. I want to get into this thing. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Carrington is a former safety who played 2 Super Bowls and 8 seasons in the National Football League for 5 different teams. Come on. Looking for more, Carrington started his walk with Jesus in 1992. When Miles McPherson started the Rock Church in 2000, he asked Carrington to be involved, and in November 2001, the Lord opened the door for him to become a high school pastor when he served for 8 years. In 2009, Carrington transitioned to the marriage and family pastor. Ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are, whoever you're doing it with, please welcome Pastor Darren Carrington. Yay!
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Pastor Carrington.
Yes, ma'am.
I want to get into a couple things with you because I want to know, how does one make the transition from being 2-time Super Bowl, in the league, big time parties, you kicking it, you somebody, all the people, how do you make that transition to becoming a pastor?
I mean, the transition, it doesn't last forever. After a while, it gets old, and that's what happened. I had the stuff that the world tells you once you get the stuff, your life will be great and you won't want anything else. And I had the stuff, my life was good, and I realized this ain't it. Like, I felt like I was on the show Punk'd. Like, I'm like, somebody lied to me.
Right.
And it was a journey. It was a 2-year journey for me to realize and understand, man, what is missing in my life. And it was when I saw and met men of God and I had a relationship with them, I realized that's what it is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So did you hear, for me, I'm in the industry too. So, we all have that little voice in the back of our head. We hear God talking to us. Did you hear him speaking to you before you actually had relationships with men of God of your own?
I knew about him right early, before I actually made the decision. So people, you could know God and you could know God, right?
Yeah.
So I knew of him. But the problem was I had never seen it. All I ever seen about God was Sunday church. That was it. And and I know that it's easy to fake it for 2 hours on Sunday.
Yeah.
So it wasn't until I kind of saw a behind the scenes look of men who are really living for God. And once that happened, then I realized that's what it is, right? It's not just a Sunday thing. It's more than that.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you like, I heard you guys, because when I first started hearing him talk to me, I'll be very honest, I was like, who are you talking to? You got the wrong longitude, latitude, wrong address. Who? It was one of those things, it was getting louder and louder and louder, and I was like, oh, Lord, look, I don't know how I'm going to do this. How I'm going to tell these jokes? And, who is that person? So when you came off the field, you heard him, you made the transition. How did that affect the people around you? Now your kid, you have a family, you have a wife, you're like, okay, y'all, daddy about to be a pastor.
Yeah, it wasn't really a pressure thing. It was more of a lifestyle change. And my wife, she came along the journey with me as we were going through the process. We wasn't married at the time, that we got married in the process. And so I think it's more about the quote I like is be a witness for Christ at all times. Use words when necessary. And that's really what it was, is whenever I needed to use words, I use words. But other than that, I wanted my life to show. And people begin to see, they saw a difference, and, at first people are hesitant, like, okay, is this for real? Because I just saw you, a couple months ago, like, what's going on? But I was the same person. I just did different things, and I was listening to a different God.
Yeah, this is a side note, but I want to ask you, with you being in the NFL so long, what has been your position, or what is your opinion when it comes to all the things that's going on right now. You know, we're in an unprecedented time where we're dealing with so many race relation issues. You know, there's a lot of people who will feel some kind of way about kneeling when it comes to the national anthem. I'm just curious. I can only imagine what you would think, but did you, as an athlete, did you think that it was, not because you being an athlete is one thing and you being a black man is another. Did you feel like it was disrespectful at all? Because some athletes differ on that. Did you feel like it was disrespectful with athletes kneeling during the national anthem?
You know, I didn't think it was disrespectful at all because I knew the why. And I feel like if people would just understand the why, you know, like as far as like Cap, he talked to somebody, a young man who was in the military, and he asked him, how can I make a stand but be respectful? Right. So and this man told him the most respectful thing you can do is don't sit down, like kneel. If you take a knee, that's completely different. And I feel like people who are, you know, some kind of way, they're not understanding the why behind it. Right. So now we at this place, and now people are more understanding the why. So before people give their opinions and their thoughts, like sit down, talk to a person and listen to their heart.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, you know, it's funny how as an athlete, when there's a player down or there's an issue on the field or something's going on, it's always take a knee. Taking a knee is out of respect for whatever is going on the field. So I find, and I'm not an athlete, I ran track and I cheered, if that's considered, to some people that's a sport. But I always was told taking a knee is to show, it's a sign of respect. So it's just ironic to me that we're saying, hey, this is a problem. This needs to be addressed. No disrespect to the flag or the army or the people who have fought for our freedom, but this is an issue and we need to put some light on it. And I was just curious because it is sometimes it can be a struggle for those who play the sport because everybody don't have the same opinion. So I was just curious what you would think about that.
As far as okay, good.
Oh, you answered it. Can you share how you have a son who's now he's in the league, correct?
No, he's in the process. Yes.
He's in the process. So what are some of the advice that you have given him? Because again, you know, sometimes some people have opinions about playing ball. You know, you're going into the league. It's paid slavery, but it's good paid slavery because you get the money and you can build something in your community with the money. Right. What is some of the advice that you're giving your son as he's going through this process?
You know, I think one of the things I told him is that nobody is bigger than the game.
Come on.
Right. So you have to make sure that you capitalize on your income potential while you can. Like I am never ever upset when a man gets 4, 5, 6, 7, 800, 900 million. I'm like, get it while you can get it, right? Because the earning window is small. So I told him that, you know, and then I just told him as far as like health, because that's the biggest thing. It's like, you know, the health wise and the concussions. And so I, you know, told them that is just realizing that. And then I think the third thing, and I told him this a while ago, is, you know, people call it different things, but it's really about, man, brother, you have to learn how to play the game. Yeah. Right. Because it is what it is. You can call it what it is. There's certain things that you have to be able to do. You don't have to sell your soul. I'm not saying that at all, but you have to learn how to play the game, right? And in learning that, you know, you can do it in the most honorable, respectful way and still understand and know who you are. So those are probably the things that I told him most. Yeah, I love that, and I appreciate that. You know, it's funny because a lot of people feel like going into the league is the only way out, and I can appreciate that notion, but I oftentimes want people to know that it's not just about being on the field. You also can be, you can shoot to be a coach. You can be a general manager. There's so many other things you can do within the industry of sport. And I just wish that we knew that, because a lot of this, because once you are done on the field, what is next for you? And I just hope that, and I can only imagine the conversations that you're having with him, because like you just said, it's not for long. So you need to have a plan B after you leave the field. Right. Actually, you know, you need to have a plan B when you go in. Oh. Right. I mean, because, you know, people say, when should I prepare for my life after football? Mm-hmm. Well, you should prepare while you're in, because that's when, right, that's when you have the most influence. That's when people want to give you stuff free, and they, you know, you can go anywhere. Like I can go anywhere because I played a childhood game. So the time to to get into and make those connections is while you're in.
Right, right. I love that. You know, COVID has affected so many aspects of our life. Many of us have been affected by job loss, homeschooling, through pastoring couples. How have all of what's going on affected the family structure? So tell me, like, in your opinion, what's been the greatest thing that people come to you and they say, hey, look now, Pastor, I don't they locked up in the house. Now they gotta look at their wife. What do you
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I saw a TikTok and they were making light of it, and the daughter was asking, hey, Dad, would you rather have to be quarantined in the house with Mom and not be able to go anywhere? Or, and before she could say anything, he was yelling, B. Like, I'll take that, whatever it is, I'll take the other one. And it's sad that it's like that. But I feel like typically a couple, they spend probably, this may sound crazy, but they spend probably about an hour of quality time together a day.
Wow.
Right? So in that quality of time, let's say for every hour quality time, you may have, let's say 3 to 5 minutes of conflict, which conflict is not bad. This is all how you handle it. Well, if you multiply the hours that you're spending a day, you're going to multiply the conflict that potentially may happen.
Sure.
So I think that the biggest thing that I think and kind of the most eye-opening thing for couples is to understand, hey, sit down and realize, not only realize, but acknowledge, hey, this is different.
Yeah.
What we're going through is different. Our lives are different. The time we're spending is different. So we have to come up with a whole different plan. It's not like, you know, we're going 8 hours a day and the kids are going. It's different. So I think that's been kind of the most beneficial thing, is helping couples to understand that it's different. And now it's time to sit down and come up with a plan.
So when you're sitting with your couples, your clients, or your church members, and you're talking to them about coming up with a plan, where do they start? Of course, I would say prayer, but where do they start? And then how do they implement that plan in their life?
Yes. The first thing is first remembering that it's not a contractual agreement, it's a covenantal agreement, right? So a covenantal agreement says, I will. And you don't determine what I will do. I will. So I'm going to love, I'm going to do all these things. But the second thing is understanding that if you understand going in that there's going to be conflict, but conflict is normal, then you're not freaked out when conflict happens.
Yes.
Right. So teaching people or teaching couples how to navigate through conflict, right? Of sitting down, of always, I think the one of the most important things is to remember that you're on the same team.
Yeah.
And create common goal right from the beginning. So before you have conflict, you sit down with your wife, you say, babe, you know, hey, we got some stuff going on. The only reason we're having this conversation is because I love you. The only reason we're having this conversation is because we want our marriage to be amazing.
Yes.
And then, so now all the defenses are down, and now you could go in and you can give those tips and those tools.
I love it. I love it. When you look back over your marriage, what is the greatest advice that you can give those who are prepping for marriage? Listen, I am single. I don't know where he is. I don't know what God put him in. I don't know what hole he done dug himself in, what closet. I don't know. I don't know. But what can you tell the folks, young women who are out here? I'm going to be very specific. What can you tell young women who are out here looking for men? Like, and I'm not looking, but I'm open.
Right.
What?
Yeah. I would say is you need to identify what is it that you want, right? You need to have a list of negotiables and you have a list of non-negotiables. You know, non-negotiables are, you know, he need to be 6 feet. He got to have a 6-pack, right? Those are negotiables. But the non-negotiable is that he needs to be a follower of Jesus, not just a man who goes to church, but a follower of Jesus.
Yeah.
He needs to be respectful. He needs to be loving, right? All those different things, right? So that's where I think I would tell them to start. And then the second thing is I would say is make sure that in the process of you potentially looking, make sure that you're spending a little bit more time in becoming the right one, for the one that you're looking for. Because you have this amazing list of this special man, but that special man, is he going to be interested in you with the way you are now? Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Ooh, that's heavy. So you saying get your stuff together first.
Hey, Michael Jackson sang about that, didn't he?
Yes, he did. Okay, so The need for counseling is greater than before. How is your team meeting this need? Because this is what I realized. I have a lot of celebrity friends, and I'm sure you have a lot of athlete friends or celebrity friends too. And when I'm talking to them, they're not well. And I'm like, are you okay? And so, we just recently saw, Tamar try to commit suicide, and then we heard some things about, Nick Cannon, and there's countless others that we do not know. If they weren't famous, we wouldn't have heard about them at all. Like what is your team doing to meet this need? And then is there anything as regular, I won't say regular people, but anybody that can help you support that initiative? What can we do to support that?
Yeah. We have a marriage enrichment workshop coming up next week on our site. You can go to sdrock.com marriage, and really what the premise behind that is that there's help, right? We have resources for you, and probably the most important thing that we're kind of advertising, if you will, is that we have something that's going to be consistent, right? And I feel like when you hear these different stories, like I always tell our coaches, hey, if somebody calls you as they're talking to you, don't ever let someone make you their 911 operator, because whatever they're calling about, it didn't happen. It didn't start that night, right? It probably started, a while ago. And it really is like just consistently giving them the tools to help them through navigate their marriage. For example, I had a friend of mine, and their car was smoking. Like, it was just looked like it was about to blow up. And, they, calling me, hey, Pastor D, I'll fix, help people with their cars. And, I said, tell me what's going on. What's up? So I went by, kind of, drove it, and I'm driving it. I asked him, I said, hey, when's the last time you had your oil changed? He's like, oh, I don't know. Come to find out, I checked the oil. That girl, they don't have no oil in there. And what seemed like it was this catastrophic issue was fixed with 4.5 to 5 quarts of oil. That cost
engine about to be shot.
You see what I'm saying? Like about to destroy their whole car. And so many times people are ready to get rid of their car when all they need is an oil change, and to consistently change their oil.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. That's a great analogy, because sometimes you just need to make small adjustments. And actually, that's why when I'm dating, I'm very adamant about you knowing your love language. Like, what speaks to you?
That's it.
Because my love language is not going. It may not be a love language, and we might just so happen to have something in common. But I know very well what my love language is. So, in order to speak to me, and now when I don't mean speak verbally, but I mean emotionally, you need to know what my love language is. And so if you don't know who that is, how can I reach you? And many men don't know that. So do you bring that to them? Like, you need to know what makes you tick, sir. And it's hard for men to open themselves up to that way. So how do you get a guy to open up, not only spiritually, but emotionally? Well, how do you reach them?
Right. It's a thing where they kind of say you can't teach a old dog new tricks, but you absolutely can, right? Because what I try to get guys to understand is the way you are is not necessarily the way you should be, or the way that God made you. Like, sometimes we use that excuse. This is just how God made me. No, it's not. Your mama or your daddy or something, past relationships made you like that. So when you and that's why we call it marriage coaching. I don't like the counseling word. We're not counselors anyway. So when you do coaching, a lot of times it puts a defensive down of something's wrong with me. Professional athletes, they have coaches, right? Everybody needs some adjusting. And typically, guys are pretty receptive when you just go straight and you let them know, hey, the way in which you operate in, that's not the best way. And if you want this marriage to be great, or you want to find this special woman that you've been praying for, you have to begin to learn some things. You have to change some things.
Yeah. It's funny because I have a lot of single friends, but don't have a lot of single male friends. I have a lot of single female friends, but no male. So my girlfriends are often saying, girl, we just going to be old cat ladies. What is it?
Don't do it.
Right. So tell me, in your opinion, why is there, or why does there seem like there is a shortage of men when it comes to women who are seeking, because there's a lot of women out here who are looking for a partner, a male partner, and it's just like they're looking around and don't see anyone. Do you believe that there's really a male shortage, or is we're not looking in the right direction, or our expectations are too high? What is it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a number of things, right? Unfortunately, like one of the things is that, a lot more males are incarcerated than females, right? So that's one thing. But the other thing is I feel like just the space that men operate in, like, for a man, it's almost like a pat on your back, an extra notch in your belt to be a player.
Right.
Right. Versus like a woman, not so much. So a lot of men, they're not necessarily in that place of saying, you know what, I want to settle down. I want to kind of, get my life right. But understanding, that as you go through that, and we talked about this at the beginning, that, man, that stuff, it doesn't last, but sometimes what has to happen is guys, they have to go through this process and realize, yeah, you were right, but then, they've damaged females. They've tainted their hearts, and now they have to do some cleaning out so that they can be ready for this woman that God has prepared for them. So it really is it's almost like an unlearning of things that they've learned, and then kind of to reteach them, what it is that they really, really desire. Not the desires of the world, but the desires that's going to please their hearts.
Yeah. Overall, people are struggling with our new normal. Can you spend some time to just encouraging people to encourage people? Because right now, everyone's dealing with whatever they're dealing with in their own way. So like COVID has affected relationships and jobs. So where in the Bible would you seek for some peace? Can you send us up to a place?
Yeah, I mean, probably one of my life verses is Proverbs 3, 5, and 6, which says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding, but in all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will make your path straight." Right. Oh. So that means I got to, Lord, I don't get this, but I'm going to trust you despite. Right. I'm not going to try to understand, because if I try to understand you, my head's going to explode. So in everything I do, I have to trust you. I have to keep myself in a place where I can clearly hear your voice and be directed by your voice. And then you will make my path straight. I'm not saying that you're going to get everything you want, but you're going to make my path straight, because we all could remember things that we prayed for that we're glad that God didn't give us, or people, right? Right. So I would say that's probably the primary thing. And that's really locking on of, okay, Lord, I don't get this. I don't know what's going on in this world, but I'm going to trust you, and I'm going to ask that you would continue to direct me. Right. Yeah. And just continue to stay in that place. And sometimes it gets hard. And some, you get a couple and they lose their jobs, and, don't be so quick to just say, well, God is on the throne. Like, and nobody trying to hear that. Like, feel a pain first. Talk to them. Yeah. Say, what, I don't understand how you feel, but I know we have a big God who's bigger than you, bigger than me, and understands your issues way more than any one of us. So I would just tell you just to trust in him.
Yeah. Pastor D, I want to ask you this because, earlier when you came on, I was talking about, I knew that couldn't be nothing but God, or, I've experienced His grace and His mercy. I would love for you to share with us a time where you knew it couldn't be nothing but Him. Because, we've all been through different things in our lives. You've lived a different life. Like, what is something that you can share with us? Like, God, thank you for getting me out of that one. That was over you.
I would say, the reality is just where I grew up. And I grew up in the Bronx, New York. I grew up in the projects. I grew up in an environment where, people, they just didn't dream. For some reason, they didn't dream. And I had a dream at 8 years old, and I locked in on it. I told my mom, one day you're going to see me on TV. I didn't know how I was going to do it, because I didn't have a brother that I could ask. I didn't have an uncle that I could ask. So through this process, I felt like God had His hand on me, even though I didn't know whose hand it was. Right. And I was doing crazy stuff. I was wilding out. And when he put me in that position, which I'm saying, like, God could use you anywhere. Right. So I tell people, when you surrender your life to Christ, you're in full-time ministry. It doesn't have nothing to do with you working at a church. Yeah. So by him giving me the platform that he gave me, I was then able to kind of reach back and give a lot of people hope that don't or didn't have hope.
Yeah.
So I would feel like it may not be taking me out of this crazy situation, but you know, I look back and I see, you know, a lot of, you know, my, you know, homies, and they just kind of just living that same life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting that I could never imagine a life where I did not dream. I've always had dreams, even dreams that sometimes my dreams are so big they're scary. You know what I mean? And then I don't understand that, and it breaks my heart that you don't feel that you could, or you can dream, because it just seems like if you don't dream, you have absolutely no hope. There's no hope in you at all. You only see you don't see anything more than what's around you, and that's very disturbing, because there's a lot of young people, period, whether they're older adults or not, but youth that just feel like I can't do anything past what I've seen, and that's unfortunate, because we want you to believe that you can have more, because if you believe you have more, you'll do more to get more.
Yep. Amen.
Well, hopefully you'll do right to get more. Yeah.
And I mean, you're surrounding, like you're surrounding your environment is what just destroys, is the dream killer.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know, if you see it over and over again, and you see, you know, family member after family member, or, you know, friend after friend, or environment after environment, and then there's nothing there around you, you know, and then schools, you know, they're continuing to tell you, you know, just, you know, nah, you know, don't nobody from this neighborhood ever achieve that, you know, don't nobody from this school ever, you know, make it, you know, you kind of start believing that, and then it just destroys you.
Wow. You are a family man, you're a husband, you've done so many things in your career. Like you said, you dreamed, which is interesting that you said no one around you were dreaming. What's one of the things that you're most proud of? I know that you have accomplished a lot of things, but what's that one thing, you know, I'm very proud that I did this?
I'm very proud that I surrendered my life to Jesus. Mm-hmm. Right, I could have followed, you know, the ways of the world, but I'm proud of that, and I'm proud that I changed the narrative, kind of in the family, but more in our society, of the Black man and his children, right? Because I grew up, and my biological father, I had 2 conversations with him, so I didn't have that, but I always tell people, you can learn from any example. You can learn from a good example, you can learn from a bad example, and I learned from a bad example of how not to be a father. Right. Yeah. So I flipped that, and I did the exact opposite of that. So I would say probably those 2 things, are just being there and just having, you know, relationship with my children. I have 3 kids, 30-year-old daughter, 25-year-old son, and then my baby just graduated from Stanford. So that's like,
congratulations.
You know, I have, you know, 3 adult kids now, which, you know, I'm still pouring in and, you know, just teaching them. But that's what I'm most proud of.
Mm-hmm. Wait a minute, you an empty nester. You and your wife, y'all kicking it.
Kinda.
So much kinda. So now that your kids are kinda out of the house, I get it. Look, my mom said to me the other day, I thought, didn't you move? Why are you still here? I was like, we're quarantined together. Relax.
I'm helping you, Mom. I'm helping you.
Well, I'm not going nowhere. And she, in her mind, she was like, oh Lord, I ain't never gonna get rid of my kids. No. You're not. I wanted to ask you before I let you go. I know that you mentioned that you guys have a coaching initiative going on. So, like, is there anything else that you're working on in the community that you need our support? What, as a church, and even you as an individual, what can we do to support you in your community initiatives?
Yeah, I mean, you know, one of the things that I'm probably most proud of, you know, especially of our pastor, is that he is not just about a building, right? We're like a church for the city, and you know we give hundreds of thousands of hours in the city for community work. So the biggest thing I would say is that for couples who are needing support, I mean, it doesn't just have to be us, but there are resources here for you. That's consistent. You know, and then going back to our pastor, he's not afraid to tackle, you know, issues, and he wrote a book on racism called The Third Option, which is changing people's lives and hearts. So I would say, you know, just those two things, and then just kind of the being, the most important thing is being consistent, right? Being consistent in certain things, being consistent, because consistency is really what's going to bring change to us as individuals and to us as a nation.
Right. Well, you know what? I am so excited you came to hang out with me today. I know you could have been so many other places, but wherever you are now, I know you want to get back to it and enjoy it. I am grateful. You know, I took Friday off. I usually have shows Monday through Friday, and then on Sunday, I took Friday off for a summer vacay, little staycation.
Okay, staycation.
And just, I ain't going nowhere but to the backyard, but I loved it. I just need time off. But so I know that you could have been so many other places, and I appreciate you so much for hanging out with me on a Sunday. It's early where you are, but we are just excited to see the things that you guys are doing in the community. And if there's ever anything that I can do to help, please do not hesitate to reach out to my team or myself directly.
I will. And I thank you. Thank you for your work and your efforts and your positivity, your godliness. I won't say positivity, but godliness of celebrating the good things. So keep your mind focused on Jesus.
Come on. Let me tell you something. When I tell you God be talking to me, and listen, because I'm a stand-up comedian. So I told God, I said, God, now if you're going to take I know how you're real good, and you take one, you're going to replace two. I get it. But you said you don't want me to do this type of comedy, so how am I going to eat? He said, hold on, girl, I got you. So, yes, God has been speaking to me. He's been so good to me and my family. I was just saying how there was a friend of mine who's a pastor, Pastor Ward, was sitting at the head of our table New Year's, and we did not know that he was COVID positive, sick as a dog here at my house. What? Stayed in my bathroom for an hour. He was so sick. And my mom got sick right after that. We had no idea what was going on. But even that, my mother did not succumb. You know, she got sick, but she's still here. You know what I mean? Yeah. So God has shown us his grace over and over and over again. And I just wish people understand. I don't even understand how you could not believe, because he's protected us so many times. Even those who have, may have lost their life and have gone through it and may have gotten the brunt of this whole pandemic. But even through this, he's protected you for something. It could have been worse. Yep. And I just wish people understood that. So again, thank you.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate you having me. Appreciate your time. Yep.
I appreciate you so much. Go enjoy that sunlight. You got the top down. You in the car? I can't tell.
No,
but wherever you are.
I'm in my yard.
Oh, okay. You in the yard. So what I was going to say, just enjoy yourself and have a good day. And again, again, you are always welcome here.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Tell your wife I said hello.
All right. Will do.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey guys, listen, shout out to Pastor D for coming to hang out with me. He was in the backyard kicking it. Listen, that's what I did on Friday. I will tell y'all this. Whatever you're going through, whatever you've been through, don't worry about it, because it's all going to be okay. It never lasts forever. So I want you guys to remember today is Sunday. Tomorrow is Monday. Even if you don't wake up tomorrow, honey, God has showed you that he loves you. But no matter how many times you mess up, you can fall down. He's going to give you an opportunity to get back up. So get out your head. Don't ever say that, God, there's no room for you in his heart. His arms are not open to you. That's a lie. God will receive you. All you have to do is confess him as your Savior. Okay, y'all know I'm a crybaby, so let me go. Anyway, I love y'all. I want to say thank you so much for coming to hang out with me on Sunday. I know that you guys have been doing so many other things, but you hung out with me. I am grateful. Shout out to The Rock in San Diego and Pastor D. Thank you. I appreciate that. You said great conversation. Thank you so much. Come back and see me. I'm here Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and on Sundays at 5 p.m. for Celebration Sundays. Listen, wherever you are and whatever you're doing, remember to tell the people that you love them. Tell them that now. Don't wait till they're dead in the ground and you're trying to jump in that hole with them flowers, honey. Go ahead and tell them now. Tell the people around you that you appreciate them and you love them. Tell them today. Don't wait till they're gone. I gotta go, y'all. I cooked, honey. I made some rice and smothered chicken and some, and some cabbage, honey. I'm going to eat. Bye, y'all.